Hello everyone, sorry I've been away. I got the chance to work on a movie. Can't really talk about what movie that was, but you know, it'll be coming up here soon. Today, what we're going to cover is a trick I learned from a friend of mine, Stephanie Chan, at Fuse33 Makerspace here in Calgary. If you haven't been to a makerspace, it's less about the tools and more about the people. You need to go to a makerspace because the brain trust that you get in one of these is insane. You can find all sorts of tips and tricks just like the one I'm about to show you. Now, have you ever tried to put together a foam helmet or an EVA foam, anything, and you're doing the contact cement and you're trying to put everything together? You end up having it misaligned, you're trying to figure things out, and it's a pain in the butt. Other things that are annoying are the fact that you have to wait for the glue to dry, the smell, all sorts of different things. So here, just follow along. I'm going to show you a couple of really cool things. What we got here is just a standard chunk of foam. We're going to get our Barge contact cement and we're going to coat the edges, right? Nothing different than what everybody normally does, right? So one is that you have to deal with the smell, and the smell is gross, but you know, hey, we're going to sit here and we're going to wait for this stuff to dry. And you got to wait for it, and it stinks and it's gross and it takes forever. Okay, so now we've got this piece here. We're going to start stitching it back together like you normally would, right? And you're going along and you get a misalignment. And of course, I'm going to exaggerate this, but you get a misalignment like this, right? And you can see that misalignment here. Let's just get down here. So, in trying to pull this apart, it makes this huge mess and it's not all that cool. Then the joint doesn't glue properly. So you end up having these really ugly EVA foam joints, especially when you're trying to do like a curved edge and say you've messed up and you do something like this and you end up having to do body filler or trying to carve that out with a Dremel, and it's frustrating as all get out. Trust me, it doesn't matter if you're an expert or not. If you're somebody like Bill Doran, you know, even they screw up quite a bit and they end up having to make mistakes and undoing it. Now you can heat this up here a little bit. And if you get the heat right in there and deep, you can pull it apart, but it's still not the best scenario. You're just not going to get that nice seam that you want. How do you get the right nice seam? I'm going to show you. These two pieces were glued along this edge with Barge on November 23rd, 2019. So that's a month and a half, almost 2 months ago. And I've been taking chunks off of this slowly but surely over the last little while to do tests. This is so cool. So we're going to take that little test chunk again from Barge 2019 and we'll put that off to the side. You're going to need a heat gun. I like this little guy, especially for this trick because it's very focused. It's a little tiny thing. You can buy them at hobby shops. There'll be some links below for you to get this stuff. Let's just plug this guy in. Now, Barge, after a long time, doesn't stick, right, at all. And you're thinking, oh, great. So if you've left something along for a long time and you don't want to have to recoat it or anything, again, you don't have to do that. Let's just get to this trick. Oh, I get so excited because this is insane. So turn this on and we're just going to heat up the edge here. Pour a little bit of heat into it. Just like that. Again, pour a little bit of heat onto it. You don't want to put your fingers on the edge here because it obviously hurts a little bit. So we're going to do that. Now we've heated this stuff up. What do you think will happen when you join it? We're going to give it a little shove just like you normally would. Check that out. Seriously, check that out. Look, it's stuck. So for months, this has been sitting with an edge with some glue on it and it wouldn't stick together. Throw a little heat onto it and boom, it goes together. There's a few things that can go with this. Look, can you see that? See the goosebumps? You're saying, oh, this is so fun. So okay, maybe I'm a geek. This is a little weird to get too excited over, but here's the deal is that you can heat up, say, one little chunk here, and say you have a long seam along an edge. You can heat up this edge and stick it together. Then it's not gonna stick further along the edge. Then you heat that other part of the edge and you keep going, and you can slowly but surely stitch things together nice and neat. This is where it comes in really kind of cool. Here, let's go back to this table. Let's go for something I've been working on for a while here. Is these night helmets. So there'll be a link below for the how to build a night helmet and some free plans. And again, this has been glued. This was glued together last night, and obviously it's not going to stick. Now I can hit it with the heat gun, and I can slowly make sure that, like, I want this to be perfectly flush along the top, so make a nice seam. And that can be a huge pain in the butt. Now, I'm going to show you two different methods here. First method is I'm just going to heat a little bit of this edge right there. We're going to grab, let's see, that edge here, and we're going to heat up that little bit here. And this isn't necessarily the best way to get things started, but I'll show you the best way that I think it is. Yeah, I can't speak right now. I'm too excited. All right. So we got that first little bit started, right? And it's joined just like you would anything else, but you'll notice it's still not joining here. So all I do is I fold this back a little bit, apply a little bit of heat to the next little section, go back to the ground, and then we're gonna make that connection right here. I'm gonna line up nice and easy, and we're doing a nice relaxed pace, and you're getting things stuck together, right? And it works out pretty darned good. Like you can see it's sticking together, and you can get like that perfect edge all the way along here. Here's something really cool. Okay. So some of you, if you're like me, and generally if you're in one hobby, you're in a million of them like I am. So I used to fly radio control aircraft. This is an iron that you would get to seal and stretch the skin on the balsa aircraft. So let's just plug this guy in and heat it up. I think you might see where I'm going to go here, is that you want to be super accurate on, say, one of these edges here, right? Now the iron, a lot of these irons are Teflon coated. Nothing will really stick to them, but you still want to have some non-stick. So I just use some oven paper, the parchment paper. There we go. Let us take a little chunk of it. You don't need a lot. Now, there's a few people out there are going to go, well, you can put on the glue and you can let it dry to the right tackiness and stick things together. And you can lay parchment paper along the edge and then slowly peel and do this. So you roll it across and you peel out the parchment as you're trying to glue. And it works great. But again, this is one of these non-stick things. Oh, here. So if you're a teacher or you're an instructor and you want to do something like this, you want to use Barge cement, but the smell and everything might set off some of your students, or people might not like it. When you heat the stuff up, it doesn't stink any more than like regular foam being heated up is. So you can make kits, you can pre-glue them, and then you can bring them into class with a little heat gun and have the kids attach them. Then you're not worried about kids getting like some of this toxic cement on their hands, breathing it in, parents complaining. Or if you're doing a club or you're at a makerspace, you can do pre-made kits, which I'm going to be doing here shortly. Is I'm going to make some helmet kits. I'm going to pre-glue them. So all you're going to really need to do is heat them up and stick them together. So it's really going to be just kind of a plug and play kit. Those of you that make kits like this for cosplay, seriously consider doing this. It is super value added to a project that you're going to be doing, and you can put on glue nice and clean. This is a talent that I haven't even figured out, but you can mask things, and there's all sorts of ways you can go along on this. I could rant on this forever. It is like, seriously, it's one of these tricks. It's like, Thanks, Steph. Okay, so yeah, we're back. This is warmed up. Now what we can do is, if you want to do a second area and you don't want to necessarily use the hot gun, let's say you've got things arced and shaped out perfectly by heat forming some of this. You don't want to apply heat to it anymore because it will lose some of its forming. Well, come in here. We're going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to heat it up with this little iron. And one thing's kind of cool is I'm not sure how well you can see it, but when you apply the iron, you can see exactly where it's been heated up. So that lets you know exactly where you need to start and stop. Let's put this on here. We're gonna heat this edge up. Now, does this add a little bit of time to your build? Sure it does, but given the accuracy that you can do, the other thing is that you can pre-glue stuff and then, you know, go have a coffee, leave it overnight. This is one of those things where you can really take advantage of the time that you would get that you normally wouldn't by doing this. Now, here you go. So we can start stitching everything together just by applying a little bit of heat and finish that off to this edge. Check that out. Like, okay, so maybe it's not the best joint here. I was not taking my time and I still got that little edge thing. It's still not a whole lot for me to clean up. Regardless, is you've got part of a helmet done really quickly by pre-gluing stuff and letting it sit overnight. Steph, you rock. Fuse33, love the space. Now, anybody, if you're in Calgary, go to Fuse33, great makerspace to go and hang out at. If you're in any city, anywhere, like even in Calgary, you've got Proto Space. There's a couple of sort of maker labs at the library. Go and hang out at these places because I just recently, like I said, was working on a movie, had some problems. I was frustrated, kind of took a little bit of a break, and I walked into the makerspace. When I walked into Fuse, I was going, this is the problem I have. Within 5 minutes, I had a working solution because somebody went, oh, I've had that problem before. Here, let me show you how you can fix it. That is worth way more than any tool that you could ever get at any makerspace. Seriously, go and consider hanging out at one. One last thing is, this is so exciting. I get goosebumps. See? I got mentioned in Adam Savage's tested video recently on his lantern build, and he got to use this Velcro that I got to show him. Did I mention that when I was working on the movie, I got to work with Adam Savage? Oh, so cool. Wicked awesome guy. Got to introduce him to this stuff called hermaphroditic Velcro, and it's pretty cool. Here, there's going to be a link down below. Check it out and go and subscribe to Test It. It's one of the best video build sessions that you'll ever get on YouTube. And as well, you're going to find a lot of other really cool content from Norm and the rest of the team. Sean, Jen Schachter, sorry, Jen, murder your name, but you people over there are amazing and keep up what you're doing. Awesome, awesome stuff. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and there will be some more stuff coming up shortly. I've got a ton of stuff that I want to have delivered to you shortly. Again, I'm a one-man show, so it takes me a little while to produce some of this stuff. So stay tuned, and we will be back to you probably in a couple weeks.